And I'll spotlight. Doo-doo-doo. And welcome, Lori.
And you are able to see the slide with the
Yes.
slides on it? Okay, good. Because I'm not right now. It's on a separate screen for me. Okay, great. So just right off the bat, just to embarrass Jack, not that my name is. So it's Loren. My name is Loren Teach Out. You can't get. Don't try to make the name something fancy that it's not there. I get Tishao and all kinds of things. No, just Teach Out, just like it sounds. So our first slide here, I'm just showing you what we do for outreach. We do a lot of tabling at events and things. So if in your area, we do cover the entire state. So I'm usually mostly me and a few other helpers, but if we can come to your event, like I know we're doing something for down south that they let me know. If you can let me know in advance and I'm able to get there and do a tabling event, I will. Otherwise, we're happy if you want to borrow materials at your own event and just put some stuff out about the talking book in Braille. We can set you up for that too. Just let us know what your event is and when it's coming up, and we'll try to get that going. We really want to get the word. It's nice to not be selling anything to anybody. We're just trying to get the word out about this. So we're hoping that by the end of this, you will know a lot more about what we do. And I just wanted to point out some of the we have lots of fun stuff that we put out. We have Braille Legos, we have the machines, we have Barbie there. We have a blind Barbie doll that we put out at events. We have Braille tarot cards, we have Braille ABC cards, lots of fun things. So we usually get lots of good response at events. Okay, so the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled is known as, we have lots of acronyms, unfortunately, NLS. They are out of the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., and that's our parent organization that provides all of our materials and all of the downloadables and the machines. Everything that you see comes from them. They also have, we are called a network library. There's network libraries in every state, pretty much. There might be one or two states that don't have it, but network libraries all over the place. I know there's one in Vermont, there's one in Connecticut, there's one in Rhode Island. Sometimes there's more than one. So there's two in Massachusetts. So just for you to know that, as you meet people, you may want to suggest the service, but you might be like, oh, they live in New Jersey. There is one in New Jersey. So, they're all over the place. So just be aware, and we can certainly direct them. If you feel you just want to send them to us, that's okay as well. Or they can go directly to the NLS website. NLS has a English speaking website. They also have a Spanish facing website. So if you have clients that need Spanish facing website, that's available to them. And if you signed someone up based that way, they'll get to us eventually. It's just nice to be able to go directly to us. So we serve, we are located here in lovely Albany. I'm looking out at a nice sunny day today from the State Library here in Albany in the Cultural Education Building. But we serve the 55 counties in, we say upstate New York, but we realize that you're not all upstate. You're kind of over and down, and really the whole state except for Manhattan, which serves New York City and Long Island and the boroughs. So anybody down there goes to Andrew Heiskell Braille and Talking Book Library, which is part of New York Public Library in Manhattan, and we serve the rest of the state. And we're kind of a small team, but we do the best we can. So as Jack mentioned, Tibble, we do sometimes go by Tibble. We're sort of phasing that out. I think you're going to hear Talking Book and Braille Library more often. Maybe there'll be a new acronym at some point, but Tibble does get used sometimes just because it's shorter. So I have it set up for you here in New York State. Talking Book and Braille Library is Tibble, and you will hear one or the other throughout the presentation. We're also, in addition to being part of NLS and a network library, we are part of the New York State Library, which is where I am right now, the building, as I mentioned, in the Cultural Education Center. And we are part of the New York State Education Department. So we have a lot of responsibilities or bosses. We are a free public, essentially we are a public library, a public lending library for residents of the 55 counties that I mentioned who are unable to use standard print, or it's difficult for them to use standard print materials because of a print disability. And we'll discuss what is a print disability, what constitutes it. Although I mentioned to Jack just before we started, NLS is really realizing that there is a great need for our service, and we want it to be as accessible for people as possible. So I would say, when in doubt, err on the side of letting people use our service rather than restricting people from using our service. We'll talk more about that, but we want people to be able to use our service. But it is also for folks who, it started off for the blind, and it's just opened up a little bit more since then. I'm not going to go over that last one because we already talked about that. There will be repetition because I find sometimes, even though I mention things, it could be because I speak too quickly or I'm not sure what, people don't always get it. So I put it in several times sometimes. So I'm sorry. A print disability, we usually say, is anyone who has difficulty using standard text due to certainly visual issues, visual impairment, can be macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy. There's lots of different things that can affect your vision. If that's happening to you, low or declining vision, sometimes it can be age related, sometimes not. It can happen. I've met lots of children recently that seem to be having visual problems. And of course, blindness, deaf blindness. I didn't put that on there, but I have an employee who's deaf blind that uses the service. So anything visual for sure. Physical conditions that make it challenging to hold a book. That can be loss of limb, that can be physical, lots of conditions that we come around every day, that people are perhaps wheelchair bound, they don't have control of their motor function, they're not able to hold up a book. Those people are eligible, as are anyone with loss of limb. It can be weakness. We've had lots of people in I'm going to forget my words. When you're hospice care, if you can't move out of bed and you maybe can't even lift up your arms to hold a book, why not listen to some books? We have that available. Let them qualify. We do serve people both temporary and permanent. So it can be something where it's maybe just recovering from surgery or anything like that. We can serve them. And reading disabilities like dyslexia. I didn't mention also, I think it's on another slide, aphasia, a brain injury. That came up recently, and I learned that that's also anything that you basically look at a page, don't see the words, or they don't make sense to you, or they jumble around. We've realized even someone could have an allergy to the print or the ink or something. If they're unable to read the other way, please think of us and refer them our way. Here's our new ad campaign, which I'm just like super excited about. So you're going to see lots of these slides because for so long we've had these somewhat bleak slides. They all look to me like everybody is just morose about reading. They all look like they were in the 70s, and they're usually all like people of a same type of person and age group and whatnot. So we now have children and people of color and all sorts of interesting people doing different things. And I am like over the moon, not to mention summer reading. We have special summer reading things, and just exciting. So this hot guy playing the cello or whatever is one of our posters. And these are all available to you. And I just want to update them with our own Tibble information, and then let me know and I will send them out to you. The QR code gets you back to NLS and an application, but it's not the end of the world if you filled that out that way. So eligibility for service, we're going to just go on to that. These slides are lovely, but they make it hard for me to see where my little clicky button is. There. Who is eligible? And again, we're going to use this loosely because we're really erring on the side, excuse me, my nose keeps running, of openness instead of exclusion. We're really not about trying to keep people out. So any resident, and I highlighted resident there because you may have people who are temporary residents or coming here from another country. If they are living in New York and they have a New York address, they may be served. They do not have to be American citizens. We do have American citizens living abroad who can qualify for service. So service people or someone that lives overseas, for a while. If they've moved, they can keep their service over there as well, which is pretty cool. If they do have to be American citizens if they go over there. But for people, and this applies to all the states, I believe. I mean, but I'm using it for New York. So I was very keen to find that out. I want you to be able to reach out to that population and offer them service because we have many languages. We're going to get to that, but we have over 55 languages of materials. So that could be very helpful for people. Again, we've already gone over all these things. I'm not going to repeat myself again, but anyone that can't hold a book, read words on a page, those kinds of issues. Don't forget them, even though it is also for the blind as well. Here's my little superhero for dyslexia. I love this. So we will be getting these out. I'll probably offer, I have these poster boards that sort of are like an easel stand-up kind of thing, but they're a little bit more precious to NLS, and I keep trying to get more and more of them. I'm sort of hoarding them so I can get them out to you guys, but I'm not sure how many they're going to let me have based on me being one library of a network. So I might only be able to offer them to some libraries, which is my sad point. But we also can print all of these into posters. We just got a brand new color printer, so we'll be getting out actual hanging posters of just about any of these designs, and there are a lot of them. So we serve individuals, as we've gone over, eligible residents in upstate New York, or if it's downstate, just refer them to high scale. We do give priority to veterans because when this service was started initially back in the 1800s or whenever, I don't know if it's that long ago, but when it was started for veterans and people who had served. And we have a special fondness for our veterans. And so we offer them, as we get machines and new materials, we offer them to veterans for, well, not so much the materials. The new books that come out, you all get the same at those. But when we get a new machine, we just have one coming out now. We've offered it to our veterans first, and then shortly thereafter, everybody else. Institutions, that would be you guys, libraries, schools, colleges, health facilities, any place there might be people congregating or that might be our potential clients, we would be very happy to be there. Correctional facilities, we have a special service set up with the correctional facilities in the state. So individuals apply for service. We have an individual application in English or Spanish on our website. You can visit our website and it's there. I will also send one of those to Jack along with an institutional application, which is for any of you that want to sign up your libraries if you're not already. Even if you think you're signed up and maybe you've had a change in staffing, I would appreciate it if you just fill it out because it has all the updated information on it, and then we would know, who's the director now and all the contact information. Maybe you've changed to a PO box or away from a PO box. It's just good to have all of that. Patrons under 18, we do require a parental acknowledgement form, a one-time sign off. This started only like last year, but we have technically access to the entire collection, which kind of made me go, huh? Like all libraries have access to the collection, but this is a requirement now. So we have this one-time requirement that has to be signed by a parent or guardian. Was there a question? I heard somebody. No? Okay. The certifying authority signature is also required on every application, and that's you folks. You are empowered to have a person walk in. Well, hopefully you know them a little bit and you at least feel comfortable saying, yes, this person is someone who qualifies for the service. If you have that comfort level, you can right then and there print them out an application, sit them down, help them to fill it out. If there are questions that you can't answer or things that don't make sense, our applications can be a little confusing. You can either phone us if you have time to do that and help the patron, or have them phone us, or just do the best you can on it, fill in what you can and leave the rest blank. As long as you have the certifying authority and the parental acknowledgement signature, if you need it for a child under 18, those are the key, and of course the contact information for the patron. Those are the things we most need. And then you can scan it, email it. We still have fax. We're using telefax, but to you it's a fax. We'll send it in the US mail. Any way that you want to get it to us, the quicker the better to get people started with service. As we all know, if you send something out the door with someone, it gets lost in the car, it gets thrown out in the trash, whatever happens to it. They had good intentions, but they may not ever sign up. So we'd like to get them signed up. So certifying authority, who can sign? There's a whole list of people, but you guys, I put right at the top here, librarians or librarian staff or library staff. I usually joke, no offense to the janitors, but I'm figuring probably not like your custodial staff, but any of your front desk staff, any of your, we would say professional library staff, but you don't have to have an MLS degree in order to sign, but you may, you can sign if you have that. But don't feel that you can't sign just because you work at the front desk, but you didn't get that degree. That's fine. Teachers, social workers, caseworkers, there's a whole long list here. My sister's an occupational therapist, so I'm always excited to put that on there. Medical doctors, I know that in one place they said doctors of homeopathy. I guess that would, psychiatrists, psychologists, pretty much anybody. There's a lot of people that can sign. And it's just a one-time signature. We do not require like proof from a doctor or anything like that. It's just signing the application. It goes in a file. We at least have dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and that's that. Institutions, so like senior centers, healthcare and rehabilitation facilities, correctional facilities. We've gone over a lot of these colleges. If you're talking with your schools about summer reading and we really don't have all the schools yet, and this is a great service for students. We're working on it, but it's a whole nother pool. I've been concentrating on, I came from public libraries, so I started with public libraries, and now I'm working on schools and BOCES and other things as well. And it's funny to hear other states in NLS. We just went to a meeting yesterday, and I have to like bite my tongue because the people are like, other states are finally realizing we should talk to public libraries. And I'm like, I've been doing that already for many years. And it's like, we've been doing that but yes, you should. Public libraries are great. So what happens next? So you send in an application. We get the application, we check it. Sometimes we find that the person's already registered and doesn't realize it, or they were a patron a long time ago. They may still have a machine, but they forgot, all kinds of things. So we check all that stuff. The reader services team, which we have 4 reader services advisors. There are phone folks that will answer the phone and talk to patrons and do all of that customer service stuff. They will call them and ask about preferences. We have some unusual that I don't think you in public libraries, it was new to me. We can restrict like language and sexual content and violence. And if people want to tell us, no, none of that, or if they want like a lot of that, or if they want some of that, they can tell us degrees and we will put it into their profile, and it helps with their, if the computer is picking their materials for them as opposed to them picking it all on their own. And as you'll see, there's a lot of breadth there to do whatever you prefer. So the patron then receives a welcome packet of all kinds of information, more than you can imagine, of what we do and what we're all about. And those things are available to you all as well. In fact, we'll send that out if you sign up as a library as well. They will also receive a machine if they want one. We'll talk about the machines. They're not necessary. You can use the service without a machine, but you can also have one. Reader services and librarians, yes, myself, we're always here to help. My phone is actually fairly quiet, so if you ever want to call me directly, I'm happy to chat. I put sheet music or music here because we have a lovely music program through Library of Congress where there is Braille music, Braille scores and music, sheet music. I believe there's also large print, and there's some audio materials in that collection as well. I'm not sure what is what. I haven't used it that much, but it's music appreciation, music instruction for folks in our group that want to learn how to play an instrument, and then sheet music. So good to know that these are available. Our motto is that, well, NLS's motto, and we have adopted it, that all may read. We are very, very passionate, at least I am, about this. I do not want to have exclusions for people. I want everyone to be able to continue to read all through their life. My grandfather had macular degeneration and basically gave up. I didn't know about this service back then, and it's a shame. We have patrons that we just did a survey recently, and I had called myself and spoke to someone 98 years old, and she was as sharp as a tack and reading every day and loves the service. It makes a huge difference to people. We hear almost daily about people who feel that their lives were extended because they used the service and continued to read after they lost their sight or whatever. So we have fiction, nonfiction books, and magazines. Most of the magazines that you would find on the newsstand, I have a whole list. If you're interested, I believe it's on our website as well. But also books of all ages, starting with pre-K. I would say we have board books and young books. I have Sheep in a Jeep, and then I go up to picture books, and we'll talk about those. I've got a lot of those. And then it moves on from there, and we have different categories of, youth, and we're working on our collection. I would say our JFIC collection and our teen collection need work, but they are there. We do have them. So books for everybody in audio or Braille format, over 55 languages. That doesn't mean that we have a ton in every language, but it's expanding constantly. And just in the time that I've been here, like 3 years, I've seen it go, almost exponentially from like 10 languages to 55 plus languages. So it's moving at a rapid pace. New materials are added weekly. So I think it's exciting to see that we have a lot of indigenous peoples languages, which I find very exciting. We may only have, one book in Abenaki or something like that, or Ojibwe, but we have some, and it's exciting to see those happen. We don't lend textbooks per se, but I have some sources at the end, and we certainly have books that are used in classes. We talked about music. It's a whole lovely department. If you're really interested in music, they have like their own blog and things like that you can sign up for. And then we'll go in the next slide and talk about the Braille on Demand program. You may not have a lot of Braille users. There's debate as to whether Braille is still relevant. I know a lot of people do use it. So we'll see. But I have my supervisor's actually learning it now. So as an adult, it is still used. Braille on Demand are Braille books that you can keep. So the NLS started this a little while ago. If the book is listed as a digital Braille title, which we'll talk about, you may be like, what's digital Braille? But we will get to that. On Bard, which is our Libby. Our version of Libby or Overdrive is called Bard, and we're going to talk about that too. But if a book title is listed there as a digital Braille title, you may request, our patron may request up to 5 a month that they can keep permanently. They put them onto paper like in this picture, and they send them out to the patron, and it's for them to build their home library if they wish. So it's a really nice service. Read Your Way available formats. We have books in audio Braille, something that's called, I'm used to the term print Braille, and in our collection, I think that's what we call it, but they may be switching over to the term Twin Vision. So you may hear that sometimes. That's these books here in the picture. They're lovely children's books. They're all hardbacked. They do have a spiral inside, but it's well made. It's not like the pages are going to fall out or anything like that. They're beautiful, gorgeous books with really vivid pictures and a very diverse collection. I found recently when I was looking for Kwanzaa books that we had 12 Kwanzaa books, which I thought was quite a lot. I mean, I had been in a small library, and I know we didn't have 12 Kwanzaa books. So they're great books. You will recognize a lot of the titles, but then we also have a lot of disability related titles as well. So if you're doing a special, what I would say to libraries, because sometimes we have trouble, they want everybody to be active in the system, or else the accounts eventually close up. But libraries is kind of a conundrum because you join as demonstration only. So there's really not a way for you to borrow materials, but I would say this is your in. If you could try to borrow 1 or 2 of these titles a year, which would be sent to you in the mail, or I guess we could figure out something with courier if you wanted to do that. You could use them for story times. I've read them to the public as a story. And I mean, they have words, they have pictures, and then they have a Braille overlay, which is like a see-through Braille page that has Braille on it. And the kids love to come up and touch the Braille, but you don't have to be a Braille reader to use these books. They're great for buddy reading too, for people sitting side by side, one with Braille and one looking at the pictures and reading the words. So if you borrowed a couple of these a year, then you would definitely remain active. Rather than this other kind of Braille, you can borrow that from us too, but unless you read Braille, that's probably not going to give you a whole lot. Or if you want to put one on display for an event, that would be fine. But we don't really want you to be circulating the materials, so just keep that in mind. If you want to use them for display or for a specific event or an outreach opportunity, that would be perfect, and then send them back afterwards. But they're not meant to go, home with people or be loaned, except by us. Here's another one of my ads, which I'm excited about. This mentions, a lot of them mention dyslexia. We're really emphasizing that. I think it's a very underknown fact. So equipment and accessories. This is the type of what we offer. These are two of our digital talking book machines, we call them. They're players that play audiobooks. And people make the mistake of thinking, oh, it's like a cassette. It's not a cassette. This is what it is. I mean, it does look sort of like a cassette. It's always got the little signature finger hole. That's one of our features. And it's a flash drive encased in plastic, but it is a unique model to us. They pop right in the front here very easily, and then you turn it on with the red button. The green button is your play and stop function, and they play. And the little moon is my favorite thing ever because I always fall asleep listening to these, and it's a sleep function. So you can put go off after 15 minutes, go off after an hour, and you won't be having your whole book play while you're sleeping away. And this is the standard model, the one here on the left with less buttons, and the other one is called the advanced. I think there are one or two extra functions on this one that this one doesn't have. We run out of the advanced a lot, so you may, if you join as a library, we will probably send you the standard model because you're just using it for demonstration with a demonstration cartridge. But if you would like to have all the features, just ask, and we have a remote control that you can use with this that brings it up to this. It has all the other features. We just run short on them sometimes. Other things that we offer, we have a high volume player. That does require a doctor's note because it can actually harm the hearing of people who don't need it. It has to be used by someone that a doctor deems needs it. So if the person has used our regular player all the way to the top and they still are having trouble hearing it, they can qualify for one of these that gets sent directly to them with a doctor's note, and they have to use it with headphones so that no one is endangered by it. We do send you out initially a player and a set of headphones, which you can keep. We don't want those back. There is something called a breath switch. I just had somebody ask for one of those today. It's on my desk. It's something where you can, if you can't move your arms and hands, you can control by blowing into this device. It will control your player, turn it on and off, and do various functions so that you can still play the books. It's amazing what they can come up with. I know. Thank you for the reactions. There's also the remote control I mentioned. There's an elbow plug. It's just a little thing that you can use the machine with a flash drive. Also, there's a side port for a flash drive. So if you needed the elbow thing, it would go into the side of the player, and then the flash drive would be sticking up instead of in, if that's easier for someone. And this picture shows you the iBill, which is a little device that you put the dollar bill or $5 in, and like say a restaurant or a retail situation, it will, if you can't see the money, it will tell you so that you don't get the wrong change or use the wrong bills or something like that. And that's a freebie from the U.S. Treasury that we can help you. We have the forms here to fill out and help our patrons to get those, but you probably can figure that out too. This is our newest player, the DA2. Don't get too excited because I'm not sure I can send it to libraries yet. You will see it at functions. I will be demonstrating it at tabling events. We can certainly get you one if you have an event, a petting zoo or anything like that. We'll try to make sure that either I or it will show up. It is available now to all of our patrons. We've satisfied the veterans, and we're sending it out to patrons now that wish it. We're still going to keep all our old machines. They work perfectly well. In fact, I've now used this one and the old machine, and I'm going to stick with the old machine because I like it a little bit better. This one has a very AI sounding voice on it, which I find really annoying, but you can change the voice. In fact, you can go to Spanish apparently if you want to. So it is completely wireless. That is the plus of it. You can plug it in and charge the battery, as with our other players. I don't know if I mentioned that our players have rechargeable batteries, but and it has all the same functions. It's a little harder to learn, but it has Bluetooth capability, and it can hold books on it, which our others didn't have the capability. So in addition to using the cartridge and or a flash drive, you can store books on here up to 200 books. So it is pretty exciting. It's just, I don't know how many people will like it or if it will not be what people want. We'll see. It's new. So how our service works, you have a lot of choice. Once you sign up, not you librarians, we will deal with that afterwards. You guys are a little bit different, but for the general public, they sign up for service. Then we get down to the bare bones. Okay, you have some people sign up that are like, oh, I don't want to talk to customer service. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want those stupid machines. I just want to like use the service and go on my way and do everything myself. That's fine. They can choose to use our Bard mobile app, which is in the App Store. It's on iOS and Android and Amazon. So you'd download you'd sign up with us. You'd sign up for Bard. Let us know that you want Bard. We would open that up to you, and you would get the app, put it on your phone or whatever device you choose to use, and just start downloading 24/7. You set up a password, you get in there, and you could have whatever you want, books, magazines, everything's in there, and you just go to town. No wait lists, no loan periods, accessible. You never really have to talk to us again if you don't want to. Or we have a lot of people who we are sort of like their social outlet. As you know from being a librarian, many times there are people that like that. If you want to, you can call us. Yesterday we had a patron call 3 times in the day. You can call 3 times in the day and talk to our customer service folks. You can receive books automatically. You don't have to go to all the trouble of choosing. You tell us some of your favorite authors. Like I said, the preferences. I like historical fiction. I like books about animals. I don't want any biographies. I don't want any books about this topic. There's a whole big long list we'll go through with you. You can even specify narrators that you prefer or don't prefer. I had someone say, I only want male narrators, no women. You know, we can do that, whatever you would like. And then the computer puts it in the mix, and cartridges go out on a rolling basis. We start with like 3 or 4. And as you go through them, you might not like everything you get, but we can hone that as much as you want to spend time with us. And then you send them back in the same package they come in, and then new cartridges go out, and it's like a roll. Hopefully you end up with no gaps of books that way. We can put 1 to 20 items on a cartridge, and we can adjust how many cartridges you have too. Patrons can still call in and say, oh my goodness, I have to have the latest Oprah Winfrey book or whatever, and we'll bump that right up to the top and get that on there. That can be done. So there's a lot of flexibility for doing this. Magazines come on a separate cartridge. You subscribe to the magazine and you'll get it every, if it's People, it'll be every week. If it's monthly, it'll be every month. Those are usually on another cartridge. So do what you like. We have a lot of flexibility. Here's another view of our machine with the flash drive stuck in the side. There's a headphone port there as well. This is our on a smartphone what the app looks like. It looks very much, they made it to look like the buttons of the machine. And this other little doohickey here, you probably wouldn't use that much, but you can hook up to a computer and download from Bard onto a cartridge and then put it in the machine. I mean, that's kind of what we do for you here, but you could do that. I do that. So with Bard, whoops, do you have the new and pop? Yes, we do. And we'll talk about that. And you don't have to wait for them. There is no waiting. I usually do attack Libby. I do use Libby. I'm not like dissing you guys. Actually, I think it's really unfortunate that you're, bound by the restrictions you have, because we seem to have different restrictions or non-restrictions here. But I do still use Libby if I can wait for a title, but you don't have to wait with Bard. With Bard, you can get it as soon as it's uploaded. We may be a little slower to get it because the process of turning it into one of our titles sometimes takes longer, although we do use commercial titles as well, and sometimes those are quick. So here we go with Bard. So Bard is the Braille and audio reading download. We have mobile and express. Mobile is the app. Express is if you want to use it on your PC only. There's like a way you can just do that, and it's a little bit streamlined. There's over 190,000 items in our collection. I mean, that's growing all the time. That's probably outdated by now. But digital, audio, and e-Braille books, which we will get into a little bit more. But e-Braille is Braille that is electronic, and it's used on a device, and we'll talk about that. Magazines can be either audio or Braille, music scores. So there's no wait list on any of our materials and no loan periods. Some libraries, I think in other states, do have loan periods. We decided for us, we don't need them. Just do what you want. But we do need to, if you ever want to get another cartridge, you have to return a cartridge in order to get the next cartridge to come. Sometimes people just try to keep all the cartridges and then say, why do I have no books coming? Well, you have to send one back if you want to get another one. So, but other than that, read at your own pace. We have the 55 languages. How am I doing on time? Download to your computer or mobile app. New titles are really added weekly, and I go through it every week and check, and everything's accessible. So this is the equipment that we offer. So there's the Bard mobile app, which, I mean, we don't send you a smartphone, sorry about that, but you can download the app and use it as you will. We talked about the DA2. I put that on here as one of the machines, but that's not pictured here. This is the advanced model, and we have the standard. So we have the audio book machines. These play audio books. And then for Braille, in addition to paper Braille, which is still available if you want that, we have refreshable Braille e-readers, which we give out the device to the person. This one on the top is the ZooMax model, which for a while was the only one that we had. We had that for a couple of years. And some states got the HumanWare model, which is the one on the bottom. We now have a crossover program where we can offer either the ZooMax or the HumanWare. If someone has a ZooMax and wants to try the HumanWare, the ultimate goal is to have you have one of these. You may also have a digital book. Well, I think they're aiming to have you could have one of these too, but we don't want you to have every device. So, I mean, they're pretty expensive. So the goal is to try one, figure out which one you like, and send us back the one that you don't want. But we're happy to have you have whichever one you want. The same with the machines. If you want to try the new DA2, that's great. Try it, see if you like it, and then keep that one and send this other one back to us, and someone else will use it because they do get recycled and reused. And you should, if you ever see any of these machines on the open market, like at a thrift store, at a tag sale, on eBay or any place being sold, please give us a heads up or give NLS a heads up, because they're not for sale. They are the property of the government, and they say it right on the player. But I've had people even call up and say, oh, my daughter bought me one on eBay for Christmas. And I'm like, well, I'm so sorry for you, because they are free from us. So please let us know. Also check your closets as libraries. If you haven't been having the machine out, it could be in a brown box in a back room. Mine was, as the director, my assistant told me, who is now the director, it was sitting there, Loren, on the shelf from 9 years ago when you were the director. I'm like, okay, let's get that going. So here's the ZooMax, tells you a little bit more about it. It has a lovely leather carrying case. It's about, this big. It's not real big. It weighs 2 pounds. The other one that we just got is actually even lighter and smaller. This was a huge game changer for people who are blind and use Braille, because if you try to carry around with you Braille books that are paper, you'd have a huge stack, and you couldn't take those on a subway or traveling. I mean, I guess you could have a whole suitcase of books that you bring with you, but it would be challenging. This is very small. It has a little strap that comes with it, like a shoulder strap. It has the case. It's a rechargeable battery situation, so you can charge it while you're going. It does need a lot of, it goes through charge, but you can use it. It doesn't do a lot. We don't send them out to libraries much because it doesn't really do anything for us. I mean, unless you read Braille, you turn it on, it goes bloop, and then it lights up. And then if you were reading Braille and there was a book in there, you'd see the keys would move up and down and stuff. But I mean, if you don't read Braille, it isn't much to you. But it's great for someone that reads Braille. These little keys along the thing are the actual letters and words that, the keys move up and down and people can read. So it's very cool. We're very excited to be sending it out. And it's a huge money saver because if you had to buy one of these, I think it's like $3,000 or $2,000 or something. So it's great to be able to just get that for free. We also offer a My Talking Books skill for Amazon Alexa. So if people are Alexa users, which I am not, so bear with me, I have the information here, but it's all taken from Alexa because I wouldn't touch it. My husband's a privacy expert and I'm not allowed to have Alexa in my home. But Alexa skill, people love it. You could walk in and say, Alexa, play My Talking Books, play James Patterson's honeymoon novel or whatever, and you could do that. But you have to sign up with Amazon and get the Alexa, the speaker, and then sign up with NLS. They have it in a beta situation right now, I think, where you can sign up directly on the NLS website, and then they would get you signed up for the skill. But it's a good thing to know that we have. We've had a few people tell us that they can't even read Braille with their fingers, but so we suggested that this might be an option because you don't have to touch anything. I mean, even with the app, you'd have to touch your phone and stuff, but this would be a way you could speak and not have to touch anything. We have ways to have you learn about new titles. The NLS produces Talking Book Topics, which is the latest audiobooks. It gives you sort of like you're used to seeing like little encapsulations about the book. And then the same with the Braille book review, but for Braille books that come out. Those come out bi-monthly. And then the International Language Quarterly is for our non-English titles that are added, and that comes out quarterly. So you can sign up for any of these to receive them. Mostly at this point electronically. It's harder and harder to get things in a paper format. But here's another one of our great ads with this little flying girl. I love this. So what makes us unique? And hopefully this will answer some of your questions. I know one of you already asked about the waiting and holds. So we are, well, for one thing, library materials come to you. We don't have a physical, I always say we don't have a physical space, but then I quantify and say, well, I'm not actually talking to you from like the stratosphere or anything. We have a physical space, but we have a closed floor and closed stacks. So there's not like a library for you to come to per se. If you want to come visit us, we'll arrange it and we would give you a tour or something. And there is a research library here at the State Library on the 7th floor. So we could meet someone there for a reason that we needed to. But generally, we don't have a place where you come and browse as you do at the public library or hang out. We have everything goes virtual, through the mail to you or virtually at home. So materials travel that way. You don't have to go to the library, and nor do we really have a place for you to come to the library. It is a little problematic with programming, but we'll talk about that. We're going to have a lot more virtual programs and things. Physical items get shipped through U.S. mail by Free Matter for the Blind, and everything travels in something that it can come back in. So all the packaging, the cartridges when they're sent are in a special plastic type of box, and you just take off the label or flip it or something, and it goes right back the same way through the post office. No waiting or holds, even on popular titles, and we do get the popular titles pretty quickly. I'm pretty pleased. I'm a very voracious reader, and I'm already reading things before they even come out. I'm on NetGalley getting things, before they're even published. So if I'm happy with the speed of it, it's probably pretty good. The audiobooks are all navigable, even the ones that are commercially available. Those will be the same like James Patterson that you would have in your library with the same narrator and everything, but they've made some modifications to add matter at the front of the book and that sort of thing. No fines or shipping costs, and long-term lending. Keep things as long as you like. So that's really what makes us different. This and another slide are very similar, but I'm going to do them both anyway. So this is like our help, our mission, spread the word. We just would, I would ask personally that you try to speak out about this to community members, family members, anybody that you come in contact with, especially underserved populations. Let them know about this service, because I think we just aren't known, even though we've been around so long. We have plenty of brochures and flyers we can provide you with. I can send them at the system level to Jack if you ask me for things. We do provide you some at the beginning, but then just let us know, I really need more of such and such. We usually have many of those things, and we can get more from NLS too. Go ahead and peek at BARD. You won't be able to do much of anything if you're not a BARD member. I'm not even sure how much you can see it until you sign up. But once you sign up with your library, we can give you access to BARD just so that you can poke around in there. You won't be able to download. You're not going to be able to download all the titles, unfortunately. There's a lot of restrictions, and you're listed as demo only. But any individual who signs up for the service would have full access. Follow the blog if you would be willing. It would help us. We have a blog. We don't really inundate you with stuff. It's just like announcements about, I don't know, we had different holidays that we were celebrating and things like that. If anything, it's once every couple of weeks or something, you might get some sort of a notification. And then let us know if we can help you with training and support. We're working on, we're constantly putting out these presentations. I'm doing these all the time. So here's our story time. This we can certainly give you to post in your library. And like I said, I would recommend using the print Braille books as books for your maybe one story time a month, or it doesn't have to be that many, whatever works for you, but they're very usable as a story time book. This is a display that a library, I cannot remember which, did in their library just at their own behest. I was so thrilled. They said, look, we did this. And I was like, oh, okay. But you can see it has a lot of our older pictures. And so now we have better graphics. Additional resources, NFB Newsline. If you do not know about them, it's a free service of news, magazine, mostly news related materials that are read aloud and also in e-Braille formats. And then these other three, Bookshare, Learning Ally, and the Resource Center at the New York School for the Blind, are all places for textbooks if people need that. You may have homeschoolers that ask about textbooks, or even your schools. And then this is I did this slide because I remember vividly, now that I'm looking in hindsight at my time as a public librarian, these are the things I would do if I could go back in time and do them now. So consider putting flyers, posters in your large print area. They recently, I think I mentioned this, but I'm not sure if I mentioned this, so I'll say it again, that large print readers are probably already eligible for our service. So you can sign them right up. So if there's a poster or one of those little easel things or flyers or anything in that area to let them know, they're really hesitant. I mean, people don't want to even admit that they need large print. I don't know why, but there are stigmas. And then your audiobook areas, if you still have an audiobook area, and maybe your children's area because of the dyslexia thing. Your talking book player and materials that we're going to send you, I would put them at the reference desk and at events and stuff, or your circ desk, but not, they're not meant to go out. I have had people ask, can I barcode this and send it out? Please don't. It's not how they're intended. We deal one-on-one with our patrons for that. Go ahead and get an institutional account for all your branch libraries. The system has one already, but each of your individual libraries can sign up for one. And then you could also have your senior center and your school in the community, and everybody have an account. Demonstrate and troubleshoot BARD. You may have, hopefully, if our service grows enough, you'll have people coming in to use your public computers and browse BARD, and they may need help occasionally. We can't always be there. So we are reachable if you need help, but help them. And then suggest this as much as you can. Tell family members, call on us for outreach opportunities, and check out our summer reading, which is coming next. It's going to be great. Okay, so since you guys are sort of in the community, we're going to have an actual physical program with the museum, the New York State Museum here on June 7th, sort of a kickoff type of event. I don't have all the details yet, but I said save the date. Our actual summer reading program is aligned with NLS, and it will be June 15th through August 15th, and there will be a lot of virtual author events. They're doing all ages. So this will be, actually, I think they said this summer is more geared towards adults. So there will be some virtual author events and other sorts of events. We have the Braille Institute in California is letting us piggyback on their events. There's lots of cool virtual things. So you don't have to go anywhere and you can take advantage of it. And they said anybody can go to these events. So you don't have to even be a patron to enjoy these events. This is one of the accessible summer reading posters. I just could not be happier about these things, and I will try to get them out to you as soon as I'm just over the moon. We are using the theme with the dinosaurs, although I've been imagining you could go beyond dinosaurs. You could do like forensic science and like all kinds of things, because it's, what is it, unearth the story. I mean, that could be lots of different things. And here's another one. And I think we're at the end now. I'm really pushing my time. And there's our contact information and my own personal email. And I don't have my direct phone number on there, but that's okay. You can email me. Thank you so much. And questions. I know we had a few ahead of time. And I can't see the chat, Jack. So if you don't mind doing that too.